Welcome to Reality with Kiki. I'm your host, Kiki, and on this channel, we discuss reality TV, celebrity gossip, and viral topics. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like our content. You can also follow us on our Facebook page. A link will be in the description box below, and we also have it linked in our bio. All right, so Real Housewives of Potomac reunion part 2. Okay, so we start this part off continuing on with the discussion between like Mia and Candace and the arguments that they had going on, and based on that, Andy asked Candace about her body shaming. Like, why was she body shaming Mia? Talking about her feet and different things like that. And okay, it's just really hard for me because Candace always deflects because she feels like, well, why are you pointing out when I did it? Ashley said Teresa's titties were saggy. We're not talking about Ashley right now. We're talking about you. So why don't you own some of the things that you say? Especially because you think you're that girl when it comes to words. Like, own it. Candace believes that she's being held to a different standard. I'm not too sure of that because, like, again, like she just brings up, oh, well, Ashley said this, Ashley said that. She did. And Ashley used to get a lot of heat for the things that she would say in past seasons. Nobody looks at Ashley like she's innocent. So Andy brings up the fact that Mia has been the Twitter disaster this year. He's talking, or if Mia is trying to answer one of his questions, Candace was interrupting a lot. It was pretty annoying. Wendy was kind of interrupting a lot too, and it was just like, please, can you just not? This does not apply to you. Nor do you really have any information on it because, again, it doesn't apply to you. Like, they're like, oh, Candace is like, Mia's trying to blame it on her social media manager. And Wendy is like, well, Mia, you're the one that's saying some of these things. It's not just a social media manager. And the scholar is like, well, are you paying them overtime? Because, you're tweeting about me at 7 a.m. And they're like, yeah, why are you tweeting about a scholar so much? And the scholar has some printed out receipts of tweets that Mia has made about her. And it's just like, all right, whatever. Like, honestly, I felt like this part was unimportant. So it seemed like a scholar was trying to have a moment with her printed out tweets, but didn't nobody care about that crumpled up piece of homework that she brought to the reunion. And so when Mia finally did try to get a word in and respond to the questions that Andy had for her without being interrupted, a scholar was like rolling her eyes to whatever Mia was saying. And then shortly after that, Andy excused a scholar from the reunion because that's all he had for her. And then Mia made a snide remark and was like, she came all the way here to this reunion only to say 2 sentences. But I just think it's interesting how it seems like a scholar is trying to join forces with Candace already. I don't know what that would do for her or how it would benefit her, but I guess we'll see if they bring her back next season. So we get into Karen and Giselle's back and forth. They've had a history of rivalry, if you want to call it that. And Andy was asking about the comment that Karen made about Giselle having a fiery box. he said, "What does that mean?" So Candace is like, "Well, that means she has an STD." So he was asking something about, was there a blog that says something about you having an STD? And Robin decides to jump in because we know that anything that has to do with Gisele, Robin has to insert herself. So Robin is like, yeah, so the same blog that reported that Eddie was cheating is the same one that said Gisele has an STD. So Wendy jumps in and it's just like, yep. So Robin said, we can't decide on how people react. So I think that we should just move past that. Basically, like, it is what it is. And it's just like, here we go again with Robin. You're very contradictory because you had such a problem with the way that Wendy responded to you, Gisele, and Ashley for talking about her marriage and bringing up rumors onto the show. You don't get to decide how she reacts either. So they move on and they start to get into Gisele's children. Um, Gisele brings up something that happened after their shady party. She says that Wendy gave Grace a nasty look or something like that. So they did the playback, and from what I got, I didn't get that that's what happened. That was not the scenario. That was something that you made up in your head to make it seem like Wendy is just this unreasonable, jealous person, insecure person that she would give a nasty look to a child. How would that benefit her in any way? And Gisele was just like, yeah, her friends are calling her, talking about Grace. That lady gave you a nasty look. And it's just like, I feel like Gisele took that over the top. I think we also know that, like, the producers could have edited to make it appear that way. When it happened in the moment on TV, I didn't even realize it or pick up on it. So I just really don't feel like it's what they're trying to make it out to be. But Wendy was like, I will apologize to Grace if that made her feel some type of way. That was not my intention, but I will apologize to her and not you, Gisele, because this is not about you. She said, but will you apologize to Carter and Cruz? Her boys, like, you disrespected their mother on national TV. They are old enough to be able to read and see things posted. And she's just like, basically like, no, I'm the one who said that it wasn't true. The rumors weren't true. But you brought him up on TV when you didn't have to in front of millions of people, like she's said previously. So it's just, again, you're not taking accountability, but you want somebody to feel some type of way and to comfort your children, but you can't show that same respect or have the same regard in return. I feel like Gisele took that over the top. I think we also know that, like, the producers could have edited to make it appear that way. When it happened in the moment on TV, I didn't even realize it or pick up on it. So I just really don't feel like it's what they're trying to make it out to be. But Wendy was like, I will apologize to Grace if that made her feel some type of way. That was not my intention, but I will apologize to her and not you, Gisele, because this is not about you. She said, but will you apologize to Carter and Cruz? Her boys, like, you disrespected their mother on national TV. They are old enough to be able to read and see things posted. And she's just like, basically like, no, I'm the one who said that it wasn't true. The rumors weren't true. But you brought him up on TV when you didn't have to in front of millions of people, like she's said previously. So it's just, again, you're not taking accountability, but you want somebody to feel some type of way and to comfort your children, but you can't show that same respect or have the same regard in return. So basically, they just showed how, like, Karen and Gisele have come around and are kind of ending their feud, and Andy wants them to say nice things about each other. Giselle's like, oh, despite our disagreements, like you still respected my children. And she was like about to cry, blah, blah, blah. Karen is like, the one thing that we have in common is motherhood, and you are a good mother. And then Andy is like, oh, can we get a hug? So Giselle's like, oh, can I squeeze your booty? So she's like, they get up to hug, and she's like squeezing Karen's booty and like fake humping her. I don't know. It was weird. It was very weird. So we go on to Ashley. They kind of cover some of the things that she's been through this season. So we know that she had another baby, and Andy like commented on how like she pretty much seemed to bounce back better via postpartum this time, and she was going through that and why she thinks that is. So obviously they are going to address the comments that Candace has been making this entire season. So there was a fan question about body shaming, Candace body shaming Ashley. So the fan question was like, why does Candace seem to relish in commenting on like Ashley's postpartum body? And Giselle was like, personally, I was offended by her making those wide body comments, um, because she just posted out a human being. And Candace was like, so what? And it's just like, it's unacceptable. And I didn't like that either, because pregnancy and how your body changes, like, you have no control over that. In any other circumstance, it would be like, okay, maybe. But she just had a baby. And you like, it's like, I don't care. And so her response was, to the relishing on her postpartum body question was, oh, I relish in being nasty to someone who has been nasty to me. And so Ashley was like, well, let's focus on the question. She still wanted to go on with that. The other issue that I've had that I've spoke about in previous videos was the fact that Ashley was not bothering Candace. She didn't pick with her until like towards the end of this season. But every time they got together in a group, Candace would find time or reason to pick at Ashley when Ashley wasn't even saying hi to her or even looking in her direction. And then she tries to flip it to, well, I'm a black woman, and as a black woman, you make comments about my hair being dry. That is not the same. And I think that's what they're trying to get through to her, but so she has the mind of a child, in my opinion. It's very childish. She needs to develop some maturity and some emotional intelligence, because that is not on the same playing level. And again, I'm the type of person that, like, if somebody comes for you, right, all bets are off. But Ashley wasn't coming for you. You made comments about her body. You made comments about her breast milk. And you still just, it's like, it is what it is. I think it's acceptable when it's not. So, in response to Candace saying, you said something about my right here, Ashley is like, we need to address this colorism thing right here, right now, because Candace is like, me being a darker skinned woman and you being a lighter skinned woman with a looser curl, like, I can't do anything about my 4C hair. First of all, having 4C hair ain't got nothing to do with having dry hair. You literally need to moisturize it, period. So Ashley is like, I've never denied light skin privilege or white privilege exists. But essentially, like, that has nothing to do with what was going on here. And Ashley called your hair dry in response to you body shaming her postpartum body. Like, I just find that unacceptable as a woman. Like, that's just disgusting and unacceptable. And I'm here to tell you that Ashley calling your hair dry was not a lie. She was stating the obvious. And if you want to state the obvious about Mia having big feet, then she can talk about that dry tumbleweed on your head. Period. So Wendy asks, does she believe there's colorism that is happening amongst the group? And Ashley is like, I do not, because I have not seen, I guess, clear examples of that. Candace says that that's her privilege. Now, a part of me can understand what she was trying to say, Um, because there is colorism that happens mainly to Wendy, and we'll get into that. But like, it does happen. The way that they call Wendy aggressive, that she's angry and like just make it seems like she's an impossible woman is deep rooted in colorism. Okay, because doesn't have to bend for anybody. So Wendy is like, well, how can you see that in society but not see it amongst the group? So Ashley was just like, well, I feel like there's a lot of outside people trying to project and influence what is happening within the group. And so I'll just say, in addition to that, right, like I do believe that Wendy faces colorism within the group, but I also think that Wendy faces colorism and xenophobia from outside. I feel like that is projected a lot as well. I don't feel like Candace faces colorism because when she's called out for things, like she literally does them, and her being a smaller woman, I don't feel like people put that this angry black woman descriptor on her. Like Ashley said, you literally called me a slave. Like that is not something that somebody projected onto this group or you. And she's like, no, I didn't. So Robin decides to step in and she's like, oh, yes, you did. When we were at the seafood restaurant, you did. And so Ashley was just like, you're just not accountable. And Candace is like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't earn your check somewhere else. And
So Ashley was like, girl, I've been earning my check since before your ass even sat down on this couch. I earned it then, I earn it now, and I'm going to keep on earning that check.
And it's just like, you do need to take accountability, Candace. You try to call people out, but nobody's going to take you seriously because you can't even own the stuff that you do. Some of the things that you do is absolutely disgusting. So they're going on about it, and Ashley is like, your intentions are to offend me. And, I don't know if it's really working, but, that's your intention. And so Candace is like, you've done things to hurt me. And Ashley is like, what have I done to hurt you? So Andy brings up the statement that she wrote for Monique for court. She starts crying, talking about you. She doesn't trust Ashley. She can't trust her. She can't forgive that. And she holds a grudge about it. And it's just like, honestly, that is something that you need to, like, I can truly say, get over it. Get over it. Nothing that Ashley did in that moment hurt you specifically. Emotionally, you tearing up or whatever. But that is not, like, her writing that statement did not harm you. It did not harm your lifestyle, your livelihood, and it didn't harm you physically. So why would you still be harping on that? And I knew that that was the reason why she kept picking with her this season. But it's like, girl, grow up. Truly. Grow up. Because you're hurt because you didn't win a lawsuit. Because that's essentially what it was. You was trying to get money out the deal. You got beat up. You embarrassed. Now you want to get some money. And you want Monique to potentially go to prison. She absolutely should have backed her up. Because when Ashley needed it, Monique backed her up. So she's like, she's still friends with her. And why shouldn't she be? I'm saying that that's very childish of you to like feel like you're friends with this person. So I'm going to try to get you because they attacked me and I feel like you should be on my side. Girl. So we get on to Wendy's body. We get on to Wendy and Wendy this season. And a fan or viewer asked the question about everything that Wendy's done. Please tell me everything you've had done so I can get it done. Y'all just want to be in her business because she already listed what she had done. And if you want your body to get snatched, you need to do your own research to see what will work for you. Because because Wendy looks good doesn't mean that you're going to look good. But anyway, she's like, I got my boobs done. She got a breast lift with breast augmentation. She also got a BBL, and that's all that she has done, even though other castmates, Gisele, try to claim that she messed with her face as well. So they get into the plastic surgery. We know that Robin and Giselle had so much to say this season about her body, and Wendy was like, the comments that they made were ridiculous. Um, Robin's like, I didn't have any problem with that. I just noticed the difference. And Andy's like claiming like, oh, from watching the show, I've noticed that too. So that's a fair question. And Wendy was like, okay, but she's like, I noticed the difference, and she called me loose, which she did. And Robin was like, it wasn't in that way. It wasn't in a like trying to slut shame her way. It was saying that she was more relaxed, she was more reserved before. And it's just like, okay, so why does it matter? Why do you feel like that's something that you need to comment on? If I feel like a person is now more open and having fun and being more relaxed than they were before, why would that be a red flag to you? And then for her to say that it was out of concern and Candace to be like, yeah, it was out of concern. No, it was not. No, it was not. And see, this is what I'm saying. Like, Wendy has your back no matter what, Candace. She told you that, and she's kind of shown it on this reunion, but you don't have her back 100%. Like, if the roles was reversed and this was Giselle, Robin would have her back 100%. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like how she don't have her back like she should. But anyway, Robin is fake because you do care. You were also concerned about cheating rumors in her body and getting it done. Like, that don't have nothing to do with you. So then Andy reads a question from a viewer who asks Wendy if her reads are rehearsed. And I've seen a lot of people saying that um like online and stuff like that. And it's just like, I don't feel that way. I disagree. Y'all mad because she getting these girls together. If we really being honest, like, oh, she doing too much. Her reads are rehearsed. Nah, she getting their ass together. So Wendy was like, my reads are not rehearsed. If I can go against up against the president's secretary and gather her ass, what makes you think that I can't go up against these girls? And I'm like, exactly, because honestly, half the time, the shade and the reads be corny. She's like, I can use my words very well and I get paid to do so. And I said, period. Like, what is wrong with y'all? And I think it's funny that out of the entire group, this is who y'all think reads are rehearsed. Okay. So then they get into the candle business, and Andy tried to be shady, and it's just like, to the naked eye, Karen, I thought that, you were trying to basically be shady towards Wendy, and all of a sudden coming out with a candle line, which it's been exposed online that Karen has been said this in a previous season. Nobody remembered, but she said this years ago that her next step and her low down line is going to be a candle. And Karen is just like, we're not in competition. Um, we both can outsell, and there's plenty of money in this industry. It's a large industry. It's $1 billion industry. And as we know, Wendy dropped her candle line and she sold out ASAP. And Wendy is doing her thing, and Karen is there to support her, and I think vice versa. And then they talked about Mia all of a sudden is dropping a candle line, right? So I'll say this, right? You could do whatever type of business that you want to, right? Like a fan asked a question about Wendy going from being a professor to now having a candle line, and it's just like, you could do whatever you want. There's nothing wrong with that. If I want to have 10 different businesses that are unrelated and I can afford to build these businesses, then that's what I'm going to do. That's my business. Right? But me coming out with a candle line, like, I just think that's kind of corny. Like, we already have two people with a candle business. Like, think of something different. Be original. All right, so we getting into the end of part 2 of the reunion, and we are still talking about Wendy's body and some of the things that the ladies have said, as well as the rumors that were brought onto the show. So they get into how Giselle was saying that Wendy changed as well. You last year you had substance, and this year it's just like, why are you saying that this girl doesn't have substance now because she feels more confident and more open and because she got her body done? Like, you're just trash. And I thought that when that episode aired, like, first of all, you're jealous. You're jealous. And Wendy called her out and she was just like, you also stated that, right? Because Giselle keeps trying to tout, like, these rumors weren't weren't maliciously brought onto the show. So she's claiming that, we said it wasn't true. And Ashley was like, that was said multiple times. And it's just like, no. Wendy's like, we just replayed the clip and she brought these rumors. Not only did she say it to multiple people multiple times, but she's like, yeah, these are the rumors. The rumors are Eddie cheated on Wendy and has a side baby, but I don't think that they're true. But maybe that's the reason she got her body done, to overcompensate for those rumors. So you're insinuating that there may be some truth to them because she got her body done. And Wendy was like, that's deep rooted in misogyny. You basically saying that I got my body done to keep a man. And like I've said in a previous video, if I get my body done and I got a new body, I can get a new man. Okay? And Wendy was like, Giselle, you had a tummy tuck. Did you keep Jamal? And I was like, ooh, you need to stop coming for Wendy, period. Like she told Eddie, I don't expect them to understand my reaction because they've never been loved the way that I am by my husband and never will be. And that's the truth. I've said this before. They don't know what it feels like for a man to sacrifice for them. Eddie sacrificed his family to be with his wife because that is the woman that he loves. And those rumors were so far fetched, like Wendy said, they probably were read by hundreds. Like, I remember when that stuff came out, but I was like, I didn't believe it because I'm like, it was nonsense. They were like, it was so far fetched that it didn't make sense. And she just was like, why would you bring rumors from a blog that's probably read by maybe hundreds of people to a platform that's watched by millions of people? And then you try to mask it as you care about her and you are concerned for her and you want to check on her. So why didn't you message her privately? Or why didn't you pull her aside yourself? Because you kept going around to different people. You kept bringing it up. Only for Ashley to confront her about this blog and this fake news. And it was disingenuous because her and Ashley are not friends like that. But that was it for this episode. Next week the husbands are going to come out. It looks like Wanda's not there. Like I've said time and time again, Wanda's not show up for Robin. That's why Wendy told you you don't even have a relationship to care about, because you don't. That is the truth. And then you were so offended about that. Now all of a sudden it turns into she hates you. No, you kept trying to bring up her body and her husband and her marriage, and you got red, and now you feel some type of way. But anyway, you guys let me know down in the comments what you thought, and I will speak to you next time.